Hi there, it's Lisa. Hey, the next video we're going to watch is Patrick Varnum, owner of Brightside Insurance, and he's going to explain how insurance selections and cost and deductibles can affect your home purchase.
Keep it a little bit easier because insurance is such a complex thing, and there's potential that every house is going to be different as you're purchasing. So I'll give you the 3D of insurance. So dwellings, deductibles, and depreciation. Dwelling coverage on your home. If you look at a house and the purchase price is $150,000, you think, okay, great, I can get insurance for $150,000. Well, insurance companies use what's called replacement cost to calculate the value of what it would cost to replace that house if it was a total loss. So if you had to start from scratch and rebuild this house, even though you might only be paying $150,000 for it, it could cost $300,000 in today's market if it had to be rebuilt with brand new construction. So insurance companies, when they are insuring homes, are going to use a replacement cost, and that replacement cost is going to be based on the current market pricing of the dwelling. So your dwelling coverage is always important, but a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers, will ask, why is this amount different than what I'm paying for the house? It seems like a lot. Well, it could be. If you have a solid brick house, and there's plenty in downtown Belleville that have been built in like the 1800s that are solid brick, 2 stories, and the purchase price seems really reasonable. You're like, oh wow, why is this only $185,000? And then you find out it's 4,000 square feet and it's solid brick, and to replace that house would be $500,000. So it's something that a lot of people don't consider. They're only looking at what they're paying for it, but the insurance company, unfortunately, is on the hook for if that worst day ever happens and there's a total loss, how do we get you back to whole? How do we indemnify you and make that house one piece again? So dwelling coverage is important to remember. The second D is deductible. So the price of your insurance is going to change based on what the deductibles you use are. Just like with car insurance, the higher your deductible, the less you're going to pay for insurance, because insurance is a way to protect your risks. And so if a homeowner is willing to take a little more of that risk by having a higher deductible, which means the money that you're going to pay out of pocket if there is a claim, the insurance is going to be a little bit cheaper. The advantage is you're paying less for insurance. And if you don't need to use it, that's perfect. But you always want to consider, like, worst case scenario, I don't know when I'm going to make a claim on this house. The first house I ever bought, I was there for 13 years, never made a claim. Saturday night, I got a call from a client that just moved from Texas. Her first week in the house, they're making a claim. Unfortunately, she went to make a pizza in her oven. The oven caught on fire. The fire department was out. She's currently in a hotel, which insurance is covering in that case. So again, having good insurance is important, but the deductible, ultimately, out of pocket, she's going to pay $1,000, and then the insurance is going to come in and repair and replace the smoke damage and the fire damage to her kitchen, as well as any other of her personal property. So the deductible is important because that's the part that you're responsible for if you make a claim. And when that's going to happen, you know, there's no good way to tell you. I mean, again, I've had somebody who's had a claim the first week she owned the house, but I've also had people go 5 years, 10 years, never made a claim. I've had people say, hey, I've never had a claim in my whole life. And then they come to Brightside, and that first 6 months, like, hey, by the way, I'm going to have to make a claim. So it happens. It's hard to control when a claim is going to happen, because how can you predict when something's going to occur, like a wind event or a fire event or a home break-in? Like, it's impossible to tell that. So the one thing that you have to keep in mind in regards to your deductible is, what am I comfortable paying if everything else is going wrong? And then the third D is depreciation costs. And again, that does kind of lead back to the dwelling coverage. So replacement cost on an insurance policy means that they will replace it for like new. So if I have a 55 or 7, I don't know how big it is. Let's say it's a 65-inch TV, there's a fire, and this TV is 10 years old. With replacement cost, they're going to say, okay, it's a 65-inch TV, go buy another 65-inch TV. If I have what's called actual cash value, they're going to say, oh, well, that TV was 10 years old, so they're going to take off money for what they would pay for that because it's older, it's not brand new, so they're going to give you what the value of it is depreciated. So your depreciation cost matters. Where it really comes into play is the age of your roof. So if you have a roof, and a new roof right now, anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000 depending on the size of the roof. But if I have a roof and it has depreciation costs not covered, so it's an actual cash value roof because it's an older roof, that means in that same claim, even if the roof costs $20,000, if I don't have replacement cost on them, I only have actual cash value, then if that roof's 15 years old and it was expected to be 30 years old, they're only going to give you 50% of what that total cost to replace that roof is, which means that instead of getting the roof replaced for $20,000, at the end of the day, the insurance company's going to cut you a check for $10,000. So it is important to make sure you know if you have replacement cost on your house or actual cash value, because that difference, if you have to make a claim, is going to be really important. Actual cash value is cheaper, but it's not going to make you whole. And as long as you know that risk, it'll make it easier to make that decision on how you want to be insured. And when you're shopping for insurance, don't just consider the front price. While that is important, there's a lot more to it, because if I put put two keys to cars inside a bag and said, they're both $10, you can pick which car you want. One car could be a Lexus and one could be a 1985 Honda Civic. This one's the better deal. They both look like they were the same price. So it is one thing to consider, like price is important, but at the same point, you also have to think about what are my deductibles, what is my dwelling coverage, what are my depreciation costs included in this policy, and hopefully that'll help you find the right policy that makes sense for you.